Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I have another journal flip through. This is actually my spring 2025 journal. I kept it from March 28th to July 3rd, so like spring, summer, but it's mostly my spring journal, and I have not flipped it yet, and it is nearly October as I'm filming this. And so yeah, I need to flip this because I do have my summer journal that is completed that I also need to flip. And I realized that I haven't even flipped this one. And so I have come on to do a flip through of this. It is a chunky journal. This is one of my little A6 journals. It has two signatures, but they're stuffed. And it spans a good April, May, June, 3 months in this one little journal. And I have no idea what happened in those 3 months. And so I will be revisiting this with you. If you know all of my journal flip throughs, they are extremely chatty. So that is a fair warning here at the beginning that this will be a long video. Anyway, grab a snack, grab a drink, because we're gonna get into this journal right here. And so this is one of my little A6 journals, and the cover is one of my snippet journal style covers, and all that just means is that it is one of the patchwork ones that I make in a kind of snippet roll type of style. I have a class where I teach you how to make a cover like this, and I will leave the link in the description box down below if you are interested. But these are my preferred journals, these little A6 ones. Sometimes I make it with just like one piece of fabric. Others are more intricate like this. Most of them lately have been my snippet covers because I just love all of the textures and the patterns and everything. So that's what this one is on the outside. On the inside, I believe I used a lot of printables from Nazi, aka Amity Bloom. I will leave her shop down below, her Etsy shop, where you can find all the digitals. I don't remember exactly which digitals I used. I want to say it was like a mixture of her story, and there was another one, and probably some other ones that I know. I have a lot of Nazi's digitals from the beginning, and I know a lot of them she's discontinued from her Etsy shop. So yeah, I don't really know what's from where, but most of the pages are digitals from Nazi. And I did that because a lot of her digitals use like these colors, and if you know me, I like my covers to match the pages on the inside. And so there's that. So I'm just gonna get right in to it. I always date my journals, and so I started this one March 28th, and the last entry was from July 3rd. And so I guess my summer journal starts July 4th and goes on from there. And this is like a little, I think it's one of those little place cards. I got it at Kinokuniya, and I just kind of adhered it to the doily that I have as a page. This is one of Nazi's printables. Do not know what kit it's from. I'm sorry. So I'm usually really good at that, but I have no idea. I don't remember. All right, so it seems like my first entry was a journaling class at Flower Cat. One of my friends, she does these journaling classes. I think I've mentioned her journaling classes with Emily. I will leave her Instagram down below if you are interested. She does do virtual like journaling class sessions as well, because I know a lot of you are not local to New York, but if you are local to New York City, check her out. I love her classes. I'm always going to them. So that's what this first entry was a journaling class. This wasn't part of the journaling class, but you know me, every time I like start a new journal, I like including a photo of myself. I don't do it all the time because sometimes I forget to do it, but this time I did, and this was one of my favorite photos at that time of myself, and so I had to do like a little vignette. And I believe the card, because this is tipped in, the card that I'm doing it on is actually from a Daphne's Diary magazine. And then these stickers are from a Coco Daisy kit. So yeah, there's that. And then of course the Hello I'm, that's from Daphne's Diary. And then I just hand wrote my name there. But I do believe the back of this card, I do kind of my intro, because I always kind of do an intro for a journal, but it so happened that it happened in between a journaling class. And I think what happened is I forgot to do this in the beginning, that I just tipped it in here. So it's in between all of my journaling class entries, or this particular journaling class entry. These are the prompts. I always like to include the prompts that Emily gives us. And then this is just continuation of that journaling class. This is another card. It's a principle from Nazi. I believe this is a paper. This is a paper that Nazi has in her shop. I don't know if she still has it in her shop, but I shrunk it down to make it a little journaling card. And I always print off, if it's any printables, I always print off the printable on one side and then grid on the other, because I like having that writing space. This little card is one of my note cards. I'll leave a link to my digital shop where you can find all the digitals. But this is one of the note cards. I don't remember what kit it's from. But if you look up note cards, you'll see a bunch of them from different kits. This is a piece from one of Nazi's digitals. This was the photo strip one. Again, I don't know what it's called, but hopefully it's there. It's an older one for sure. I think I have journaling under here. Yeah. So this is Emily's business card. I don't know if that works upside down, but there goes the QR code if you want to pause and scan. And then I absolutely love Flower Cat's business card. This is a little cafe in Greenpoint, and their business card is so cute. Love that. So I love going to Emily's classes that she holds at Flower Cat, because they're small and cozy and intimate, and I love Flower Cat. It is just the cutest cafe in Greenpoint on Noble Street, and it's just a good time. It's a good time all around. So this page was a book page. I tend to tip these in. I think this one is from a Alice in Wonderland book, possibly. But what I like to do when I have book pages that are in English, because I use a lot of foreign text pages in my journals as well, is sometimes I get the urge of doing what I like to call found poetry. This in particular is the whiteout poetry, where you kind of white out all the other words just to highlight sentences or words to kind of create a poem. And so I'm just going to read this one. It says, "In summer, when the days are long, take pen and ink and write a message. This is what I wish." And then these are stamps. Usually I take my decorative stamps and I stamp a whole page, and then I fussy cut them to use them as ephemera. And so that's what these two are. They're just stamps. I think this is unfinished. I feel like I was supposed to do something on this side and I didn't. I just kind of left the paper as is. But yeah, I do that sometimes in my journals. It's fun. I really enjoy doing those things. Yeah, so I'm not going to read a whole lot of what I got up to here, but clearly I went shopping or something, because these are all tags from things that I bought. Oh my God, I got this blouse from either Marshalls or TJ Maxx. It's so pretty. I kept the tag, but I absolutely love that shirt. I like shopping at Altered State. It's like one of my preferred shops, and so I love their packaging. It's very cute. So I think I just tied this up here with this ribbon. This ribbon is, you know how when you get blouses and it comes with those strings, those little satin strings that you can use to then hang up that piece onto, like on a hanger. Yeah, I cut those off because they bother me when I wear the clothes, and I keep them and I use them literally for everything. Crafty. And I just tied these two tags together with one of them, and then I glued this to this pocket that's from a crepe paper collection, and I tipped the whole thing here with some of Nazi's washi tape. This was my little prompt card that I did for, I guess, April. I love creating these prompt cards. I absolutely suck at doing the prompts on the card, but realistically, I create them for other people who love this type of journaling, like these type of journaling prompts that they can just use in their journals and stuff. I absolutely love creating these, and so I created this one. This one was one of the freebies, I think, in March, the spring what is that? The spring equinox. So every quarter, I send out a newsletter, and in that newsletter, there's like a section there that says free gift for you. And sometimes it's a printable, like an actual journaling printable you can print out and cut the ephemera and stuff like that. Sometimes it's a prompt card like this that have a whole month's worth of prompts, one for each day. Sometimes it's a video on like how to do something, like a DIY video or a how-to video. It's just something to spark your creativity. And in that newsletter, I also include journaling prompts. And I send this newsletter out every equinox and every solstice. So spring and autumn equinoxes, and then the winter and the summer solstices. So it's literally, I only send 4 newsletters in this newsletter, and I have officially moved it all to my website. So it's no longer on Substack. And so you'll have to go to my website if you want to sign up for that, if you weren't already signed up via the Substack. And yeah, it's usually just 4 emails every quarter, like 1 every quarter that I send out. Sometimes if I want to share something, or yeah, if I want to share something like news, like I recently did a craft fair where I had a booth where I sold journals and stickers and stuff, something like that. Or if I have a new class coming out, I may send an extra email, but generally it's just the 4 emails a year, because that is what I'm capable of doing right now. But yeah, that's where I give these guys out. And then I have a special page on my website for those email subscribers that they can find this. So that's what that is. This, I think this was prompt number 1 and I never finished it. So, dear me, I think I was supposed to write something here and I didn't. So I tried my best, but it just never happens. So that was the rest of March. We're now into April. I use these journals to put everything in it. So it's a mixture of an art journal, a memory keeper, a junk journal. These are the stickers from my Cocoa Daisy kit. So I subscribe to the Cocoa Daisy kits. I subscribe to the stationery kit and the notebook kit, I get an insert. So I subscribe every month to get a insert. I get the passport size, the mini Daisy Dory, and I get the stationery kit. This month I must have added a creative kit into my shipment because I got the creative kit as well. I must have really loved this kit. And that's the only time that I would buy an extra kits, is if I really, really love it. This went through the 1st to the 10th, so I guess that the beginning of that month was really, really slow, and I'm just journaling about that. I bought a picnic or beach rug from this company, and it's really pretty, and it came, so I kept all the packaging here. I put batteries into my Instax square camera, and I was trying to test it out, and I took a picture of my bookshelf. So this is actually expired film, so it's kind of bluish, but it worked. And I think I wanted to attempt to take pictures with my camera because I had all this expired film, and so that's that there. And oh my god, I don't remember what we got up to here. I don't know what this was, but this, I went to I remember just from the picture. I went to one of those little like murder mystery parties with a new friend that I made at a 222 event. This was like for a different sort of like social club or whatever that I guess she does events to. And I went with her, and this was just us who actually did the murder mystery. And this was kind of like I wasn't supposed to keep this. I was supposed to turn this in, but of course, if you give me a paper thing, I'm just going to keep it, put it in my journal. And so I was journaling about that. This would have been cool if it was more people. There weren't that many people. And yeah, so this is my receipt from the bar that I was at. I was the pop princess, and I just put my name tag in here. So that's what this is journaling about. I remember now. I took this week off of work because this was my birthday week. And I was just like, I'm taking the whole week off. I screen capped my co-star little blurb here on my birthday, and I put it in here. So my birthday was on a Tuesday, and a few of my friends actually came with me to the Brooklyn Botanic Garden. So I have here part of the plant the pamphlet, not the whole pamphlet, like the map and stuff like that, just like these pieces, I guess, tipped in here. But yeah, they came with me because I wanted to see the cherry blossoms. I wanted to see some of the other blooms. Not a whole lot of the cherry blossoms were in bloom. I think they were late bloomers. They were later on in the month, but the magnolias were in bloom and everything. So, and it started out as like a really cloudy day. I remember that. And towards the middle of the day when we got there in the morning around like 11, towards like the afternoon, it started getting sunny again. But yeah, so my friends came and we spent the morning at the Brooklyn Botanic Gardens. This is a selfie that I took of myself. This is one of the Felicity Jane girl stamps. I believe this is Willow. And this is from a Victoria magazine. Yeah, I believe this is from a Victoria magazine article. Is there a season more hopeful than spring? And then I tipped this in and I kind of made it into like a double page spread of just some of the photographs that I took at the Brooklyn Botanic Garden. So sorry for the glare, for the lights, but hopefully you can see. So I took these on my phone because this trip to the gardens, I actually took my Instax camera to use up all that expired film. And so these guys are ones that I took on my phone because we all know that an Instax is hit and miss. And I took a whole bunch of pictures using those Instax, but I don't think any of the Polaroids are in here, but my phone photos are. Again, just a cluster. This is another quote from a Victoria magazine. April hath put a spirit of youth in everything. These are the blossoms that were blooming around the Japanese lake area. This was like in the Japanese section of the Brooklyn Botanic Garden, and then just other things here. So pretty. I love a good garden. This was the back of like the pamphlet. This is some of Nazi's washi tape, Make Her Life into a Work of Art. These were the magnolias of the picture that I took, and I just kind of fussy cut the magnolias out of the picture and just put them there because they were in bloom. They were like beautifully in bloom. And then these are some of my friends. We took a picture. I love this picture. It came out so cute. And my friend John, he came late, so he wasn't in this photo, but I love this one. And then happy birthday, beautiful dreamer, because this was my birthday. And then this is like 2 days later. I guess I did go shopping because these are all the tags of all the things that I bought, probably at a Marshall's or a TJ Maxx. And so I just made a little pocket and put all those tags in there. This was a day at Recess Grove. I believe I went with my friend. I want to say I went with my friends. Did I go with my friends? Recess Grove. I went with somebody. I just remember who I went with, and I can't really read my handwriting right here. Oh, I did. I went with one of my friends. My new friend that I met at a 222 event. We did a mural and mingle night at Recess Grove, and I just took a picture of what I painted on the wall, and then the little sketch of the girl that I made, because I always do a sketch first before I paint on the wall, and I prefer my sketch over the wall painting, but gotta put it in here next to my journaling. And I think that I talk about that here. Okay, so I tipped this in. These are probably the very last blooms from my orchid. Now, if you follow me long enough, you would remember my orchid. This is an orchid that my mom got for me in 2020 in like the height of the pandemic. And she was just like, it'll brighten up your room, you know, all these things. And that orchid it lived. I don't know how it lived. It lived for 5 years, and sadly this year it died. It died. Normally, okay, so orchids, their stem dries up and it dies, and you clip it and then it creates a new stem, and then it'll blossom that has been the cycle, right? And so this year oh my goodness, I don't even know if I have a photograph of it, but it blossomed 2 stems, and each stem blossomed into these little blooms, and it was like the best that it had ever blossomed. But I think it needs a lot of indirect light, and my apartment just doesn't get a whole lot of light. And so after that last bloom, it just like did a big hurrah for me. And when the stems died, I just clip them. I clip the stems. I mean, you're supposed to do that with plants. You're supposed to clip off like the dead stuff so that it can grow new stuff. But I clipped the stems once they started getting dark, and the whole, like the core, like that core, usually it has leaves and the leaves flourish, but then slowly those leaves started changing colors, and I clipped them, and then that whole core started getting black. And that's when I knew that it just died. It just died. And that made me really sad, because if you remember any of my videos or my posts about my orchid, I used it as sort of like a beacon of hope every year, because it always blossomed in the beginning of the year. This year it blossomed a little late. It blossomed in like March. And so I wanted to, I don't know, I always save the petals, like the last few petals, and I pressed them, and then I just laminated them and just tipped them in here. But like, I don't know what compelled me to save more. Normally I save like one. I decided to save 3, and I'm so glad I did, because these are the last blooms from my orchid before it died. And I don't know, I'm very sentimental about my orchid. Like, I'm gonna miss it, but it wasn't doing well here. I think that's why it took a while for it to do a bloom. And I think that's why it passed away. Yeah, I love my orchid, and it lived 5 years. And it would have lived more, I think, if I had light in my apartment, but I don't. I live in like a little cottage. I just think of it as like that little cottage from The Holiday. Like, that's how I like to imagine my home. It's just like this little cozy dark thing, you know, Kate Winslet's house in that movie. It's kind of like that. I don't get a lot of light, which is so sad. When I used to live with my mom, I used to get so much light, because her apartment gets so much light, but I don't, sadly. But my orchid had to live in here because she was amazing. This day I went on a walk, and so my apartment it's very strange. It's very unique for New York City. I have 2 entrances. I have 2 doors, like front doors. I have a main one, and then like a regress one, or whatever. One exits into the building, and the other one exits out into this garden courtyard. And this magnolia, this was my first spring living in this apartment building. And so I didn't know that these trees that were outside of my apartment in the courtyard were magnolia trees, and the magnolias were in bloom. They were so in bloom all over we call this a campus because it's a very large complex, but it was in bloom everywhere. And it was these beautiful pink magnolia trees just like right there, right outside. And so I took a picture of it. And I tried saving some of the leaves, but they kind of just disintegrated. It just didn't work out. But this day I took a walk to Fort Trent Parks, because I live near there. And this is the Billings Archway, and so I took a picture of that. And then I think later that day I did a 222 event where we went to dinner, and then we did a graffiti art activity. Basically, we went to this like warehouse place in Bushwick, and we tagged a wall as a team. And so this was my group, and this is our tag that we made. And then this is like the whole 222 group. So it was 2 different 222 groups there. And yeah, that was really fun. That was really fun. I think the next day it was Misfits Hangout. So me and my friends, these are my high school friends, and we jumped on a virtual call with another friend who lives in Texas. We're all high school friends. And so this is the screenshot that I took of all of us there. And so we went to hang out because 2 of our friends were in town, and we ended up at this place where they had trivia. And so there was enough of us to form a group for trivia, so we did. And then when we went back to my friend's house, we called our friend Steph and chatted a little bit there. And so that's what happened that day. And now we're in May, and so that was all of April. May, I guess I went to a junk journal club. So I have a friend who used to do these junk journal club meetups, and they were almost always at the Nook, which is like this, it's like a cafe. It's a cafe in Bushwick. It's a really cute cafe. She no longer does the junk journal club because she no longer lives in the city, but this might have been the last one that I went to. And at that club, I did this little collage from one of the photos that I took at the Brooklyn Botanic Garden. And I print all of my photos on sticker paper. I put them in these templates, these little Polaroid templates that I sell in my shop, and then I print them off and stick them into my journal because I like the little Polaroid look. So almost all of my pictures are like in this little Polaroid template. But I did this little collage with that photograph because I had it and I didn't put it in anywhere. And I think these were pieces that I took from the table. And then this is another little snippet from a Victoria magazine. It says, "As the warm sunshine beckons in a season of rebirth, we recall the beautiful cycle of life," because, you know, spring, I love spring. I love everything about spring. I also decorated this envelope. So this is one of those junk mail envelopes. I left this blank, but I decorated this side of it. All of this is a decoupage napkin, and I believe I talked about that in my previous video, the one before this, where I showed you how you can create these beautiful, beautiful pages just using napkins and decoupaging them onto your page. I put paint splatters on mine because, of course, I need to do that. But yeah, this is so fun. I love these little windows. Usually I utilize these envelopes better, but when you're at a journal meetup, there's just so much that you can do. Apparently, I went to Yesterday's News, which is one of my favorite antique thrift stores in Brooklyn. I went with my mom this day. Oh, I remember I went with my mom because I bought a side dresser, a side table, and she was helping me pick it up. She drove me there so that we can put it in the car and bring it home. And so that was this day. And I journaled a lot here, so I don't actually know if there was more to that or if it's just personal journaling, but yeah. I already see here I had my one little word Zoom call, so I guess I was talking about the Zoom call that I had, which is always it's always really nice to come out of those Zoom calls, the one little words ones. I have totally, completely fallen off one little word. This might have been the last thing that I did for one little word. I think all the other Zoom calls were during working hours and I just couldn't attend. And then I just fell off with my one little word practice, with my journal. It's just one of those years where it's just not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. My word for the year is flow. I think it is still flow, but again, I've just completely fallen off the whole practice. So, which is unfortunate because I really love those Zoom calls. If I can just be consistent, there's a lot of ifs, right? There's just a lot of ifs. I think I fell off a bit because, one, I've been struggling finding the time to actually do my craft stuff, and I do a whole bunch of different things, and I keep a whole bunch of different journals, and I really want to dedicate the time to do one little word, you know? It's just that one year that I actually did it, there was nothing going on. Like, I didn't have a job. I was looking for work. And so I had all the time to kind of focus on me and like do the exercises and do everything and attend all the calls. And I love that. And I just don't have the time this year, which is unfortunate because I was all gung-ho in the beginning to do it and it just didn't work out. I must have went to Hobby Lobby. So, oh, that's what happened. I remember. So New York City has a Hobby Lobby now, and it opened. This is probably when it opened, and I went with my mom. Yeah, there's a Hobby Lobby. It is all the way, it's like in Tribeca. It's like blocks away from the World Trade Center. It's on Greenwich. I think it's on Greenwich. Greenwich and Warren. I think that's the intersection. It's right there in the building. It shares it with the Whole Foods. It's where the Barnes & Nobles used to be, and apparently a Bed Bath & Beyond, but I only remember the Barnes & Nobles. Yeah, it's huge. It took up the space of the Barnes & Nobles and the Bed Bath & Beyond. It's enormous. So if you didn't know, we never had a Hobby Lobby here. Hobby Lobby only existed in New Jersey, and now there's one in Manhattan. And people in Tribeca aren't really happy about it for reasons, I guess. I understand, but I'm very happy because I can go to a Hobby Lobby and get things. I mostly like getting the fabrics, and my favorite lace comes from Hobby Lobby, so I enjoy a good craft store and one that I can spend hours in. So went there, and then literally like maybe 2 blocks away from that Hobby Lobby, there's a Marshall's there. There's a lot of construction down there, and so like The Marshalls is pretty hidden, but there's a huge Marshalls down there. And so of course, went in there, bought clothes. These are all the tags for everything. I must have gotten my Cocoa Daisy kit because I always put the stickers for the Cocoa Daisy kit in there. And then this is mid-May, and I put here May 12th through the 15th. This was my job's IRL. This is our work retreat, and they sent us to Minneapolis, Minnesota. I've never been to Minneapolis before prior to this trip, and so this is me documenting that, and it's like a lot. This was all the info from the hotel, and I just tipped that in and then did a lot of journaling. The hotel had these really, really funny postcards, long live the guests, with like these insane, like, I think there's 2 of them. Yeah, I took says sit still, look pretty. Like, they were ridiculous. And the cards, the key cards for your door had different animals on them dressed in like these elaborate, like Victorian-esque outfits, and each card was different. So I got 2 cards for my room, and each one had a different animal on it. It was wild. It was very interesting. I had to take the postcards and tip them in here. Of course, I backed one with some grid paper so that I can do my journaling on it. And then for, I think, the first dinner, they took us to Hell's Kitchen. I guess it's a restaurant there in Minneapolis. It's like really famous or something. And they had a photo booth. And so me being me, I am the resident scrapbooker at my company, and I made all of my coworkers come and do photo booths with me. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8. Did it 8 times, and I put the strips in here. These are just page protectors from different page protector things that I cut down, and like I put 2 and 2 and just kind of tipped them all in here. We did an excursion to Paisley Park. This is a sticker that I bought at Paisley Park. Paisley Park, if you didn't know, well, Minneapolis, if you didn't know, was like Prince's hometown. And he had this recording studio compound outside of Minneapolis called Paisley Park. And yeah, we had like a private tour of Paisley Park, which was fun. So I put the sticker here. This is a picture that they took of me on the Purple Rain motorcycle. That scene in Purple Rain. So that's me. I think there's another one here. Yeah, this is the other picture that they took, because we weren't allowed to take pictures at Paisley Park. The only room that we were allowed to take pictures in was like the last room, which was like a showcase. It had like all of Prince's outfits. It had cars from some of the movies. It like had his shoes and his bags. Like it was like the sound stage of Paisley Park where they like did shows and stuff. That was the only room that we were allowed to take pictures. Everything else we just couldn't. They literally locked our phones up. They put them in one of those little sleeves and like locked them up, and like we just couldn't use our phones at all, which was insane. I have been to museums and stuff where we're not allowed to use our phones, but they never locked them up. Like the Ghibli Museum in Tokyo, like you're not allowed to take pictures or video in the inside, right? You're not allowed to use your phone, but like they don't physically lock your phone. Like everyone really just respects the rule that you're just not allowed to film and take photos. Here though, they legit locked your phone up. It was wild. It was wild. The Prince symbol sticker, I bought those 2 stickers just to put into my journals, because of course if I see a sticker, I'm gonna get the sticker and put in my journal. This was a gift card that my company gave each of us for Gray's food haul. I think mine still has some money on it, but I put that in my journal. This was another picture that they took. There were like photo points there, and of course I did all of them. This like wall mural of Prince, and then behind me is Prince's purple Yamaha, like his custom Yamaha piano, which was really cool. These are work notes, mostly doodles on the hotel stationery. Any business card that I had, I stuck it in here. My luggage tag from the hotel. This was a token. So these were the tokens that they gave out for the photo booth, and I had 2 left. The last day that we were there for brunch, we went back and ate brunch there. So I used one of the tokens to do another photo strip, and then I have 1 left, and it came home with me. So I just put it in a little page protector and I just stapled it here. And then here's another postcard. that last day, my flight left late, so I ended up going to Strive Bookstore, which is a small little bookstore in Minneapolis. It's an independent bookstore. They also publish, they like have their own, they publish their own books and stuff there as well. But it is an independent bookstore. I believe it's owned by POC owners. I'm not sure if they're male or female, but they cater to POC writers, Indigenous writers, female writers, and that's the bookstore. Like that's, and I'm like, I need to go to this bookstore. I need to go to this bookstore. It's so tiny. It's so cute. They have a cute little reading nook. Anyway, I bought books there, clearly. This is the bookmark that they gave me, and then this was from the bag. Like, I didn't have a bag, so they gave me a paper bag that I guess has this. I'm not sure if this is stamped on it, but of course I had to rip it up and put it in here. And yeah, I did that because I had to kill time before my flight. My flight left in the evening, and like after the brunch that we had, like we had to check out of the hotel and all the things. That day was wild because Minneapolis, they were under a severe weather warning. They were under a tornado watch, and then it increased to a tornado warning. And I remember I was in the lobby of the hotel with a few of my coworkers because two of my coworkers, their flight was delayed, so they decided just to stay at the hotel just to, see if their flight is when their flight is going to go instead of waiting at the airport. So they were there, they were playing video games together. And then my other coworker, she was there, and we were just talking because I was telling her, yeah, I went to this bookstore, and we were just talking about all the books and stuff like that. And literally the tornado sirens rang, and like the hotel made an announcement saying that everyone needs to get to the lobby and like all these things. It was wild. The sky outside went so black. Like it was raining really, really hard, and it just went black. It was really windy because when I was walking from Strive Bookstore, it was windy. Like it was really, really windy, and I'm like, oh, it's a storm's coming, because like it just felt like a storm was coming. But never have I ever like lived through, or just like experienced, I don't want to say live through, but experience like a tornado. There was a tornado nearby apparently, and we had to like shelter in place and like all these things. That was a time. My flight was already scheduled late. Like I think it was gonna fly out at 6 p.m. and this was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. My flight ended up being delayed. I didn't leave Minneapolis until like midnight. I didn't get home until like 3 a.m. or something like that. It was wild. It was wild. But that was such a fun time with my coworkers. We always have a blast. It's always fun. I know I didn't go into like a whole lot of detail, but a lot of it's just work, like work things. We did a hackathon, bonding with your coworkers and stuff like that, but the highlight was pretty much Paisley Park. So this is another one of those found poetry pages, another whiteout poetry. And again, I did this one pretty much the same way I did the other one, very simply with another one of those stamped cutouts. This one reads, my heart, someone came to me. I said to him, you must wake. I said it very loud and clear. Raised his voice, he repeated this verse. He said, I'd go and wake up myself. I love these. I love like finding these little poems in someone else's writing, right? Because these are pages from books that I tear out, and yeah, they're just so fun. I love these. They're kind of my favorite things to do. Ooh, I bought something, and I put all the packaging here and the little note that from, I guess, the shop owner, or someone who packed my thing. I don't know what I bought, but I bought something, clearly. And I put that in there. And I think this is just continuation of me talking about being stuck at the airport, because I wrote here, I got home. I didn't get to my house that night until 4:30 a.m. 4:30 a.m. Isn't that wild? And I slept in the next day because they gave us this day off, which was really nice because, I did think I did go out this night, I think. Yeah, I went with my friends. We went to a mural and mingle at Recess Grove, and then we went karaoke at Baby Grand afterwards. That's what happened that day. This is a Recess Grove sticker. And then I put my little flyer from my Snippet Journal class because we made it live, I think, this day. I was at Recess Grove, and one of the owners, Jesse, we kind of coordinated and we made it live because my class happened on June 3rd. And so I had to do a little collage there for that. This was Saturday, May 24th. This was my dad's birthday. I went on a date. I went on a first date, and we went to the Met. And so I have the little sticker things for the your ticket that you put on you. And then this is from a napkin from a bar, I guess, that we went to afterwards. And so I put that there. It's a Lace and Whimsy sticker. I thought that was amazing. Like it was just fitting because, you know, the Met. So I think I'm talking about that here. This is from the Met pamphlet. And yeah, that was talking about all of that there. I hadn't been to the Met in a very long time. I found it really ironic that I was there on my dad's birthday. My dad worked at the Met. So my dad had literally one job his entire life, and that was working at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. He started out as I think a dishwasher in the kitchens, and then he became a security guard, and then he did like a certification or something, and he moved up and he was in the engineering department at the Met, and then he kind of worked his way up until he became the department supervisor for the roofing department. And that department handled all of the banners. So I don't know if you've ever been to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, but the outside there are these huge banners that are out in the front. His department handled those, like changing those out. The rooftop garden, they handle all the installation and the overseeing of the installations that get built up there. Basic like roof things. So like my dad, he was very prideful about where he worked. He loved that museum to pieces, and he would always, every time like my brother and I would go to the Met, you know, he would kind of walk us around and all these things before he let us do whatever we came to the Met to do. And he would just be like, oh, do you remember that snowfall that we had X, Y, and Z? Yeah, we would be walking through the gallery and he's like, oh my God, this whole gallery, you see that painting over there? There was a leak, because he was the supervisor, he was the managing supervisor of the roofing department. So he knew all the galleries that had leaks, all the walls that needed to be repaired, all of everything. And he's like, I know a lot about that museum. Just like the everyday, I guess, maintenance of it. I know what galleries are prone to leaks when it rains or snow, or we have like a heavy snowfall. I know that a lot of those paintings get ruined when that happens, and they remove them. And there's, oh my God, one of my favorite things about the Metropolitan Museum of Art. So you know how in Disney World and Disneyland, you know, we only have access to the top, you know, to the park on the top and the castle, but there's like a whole inner working maze underneath the park where all the cast members go through. It's a thing, it's true. At Disney, well, the Metropolitan Museum of Art has that same thing. There is a basement area. It's just tunnels. It's literally tunnels, and that's where all of the different department workshops are. And when I was a kid, I remember my dad took me and my 3 cousins. We were there, and we went down there. Like, I mean, I've been to the basement multiple times, but he gave us like a tour of it, and like we went to, you know, the engineering department, the roofing department. We got to see the textile workshop, because my dad was really good friends with the woman who, one of the seamstresses there, who would, you know, oversee the textile. So like anything from those little, what are they called? What's that gallery that have like the little rooms, the French styled rooms, and like any of the fashion installations. Usually they do the fashion stuff, I think it's like the lower level. There's the gallery there that they do all the fashion shows. Sometimes the fashion shows, like these are the fashion exhibits that happen every year. That's why we have a Met Gala, because the Met Gala is the opening of those exhibits. And I loved that room. My dad was really good. I don't know if the woman is still alive. I don't know if she still works there, but I remember when I was a kid, he was very good friends with that woman. And we got to see that. And just different departments there. Funny thing, my mom, so that woman made my mom's wedding dress, the woman from the Met. And there was one year, my mom told me, there was one year where the staff, they did like a gallery for the staff. So the people who worked at the Met could submit their art and everything to be shown at the Met in this like Met employee gallery. And that woman asked my mom if she could display the wedding dress that she made my mom. And my mom's wedding dress was displayed at the Met. Isn't that cool? I didn't know any of these things until like I'm older and like could find out these things. My mom does not have her wedding dress anymore, which sadly, it was it was of the time. I don't want to say it was hideous, but it was of the time. That wedding dress was of the time that my parents got married, and I would have never worn it, but it would have been cool to see it, right? But I don't know. My mom doesn't even know what happened to the dress, but it was at the Met at one point. But yeah, anyway, I went on a little tangent there. But my dad worked there many, many years, and when he got sick, he figured that he was sick with this cancer, that he was on leave, because he was sick, but he was already of age and he already had the time to retire, so he did. He retired early, even though that wasn't his plan, but he loved the Met. Like, he loved this museum, and so I found it really, really funny that I hadn't been there in years, because, just after my dad passed away, I think I only visited the Met like maybe twice since, until this might have been the third time. But I thought it was really interesting that I went there right on his birthday. I wrote a lot about that, about being in this museum that is my dad, right? He is my dad. That's my childhood memories of my dad is at this museum. And it was on his birthday. I must have went to Home Goods because I bought kitchen towels and kept the receipt. Yeah, I did. I went to Home Goods. Oh, because I spent the weekend with my mom. Yeah, we like to shop together. I think I got a whole bunch of, I got like a Hello Petite paper order, and I kept all the stickers and the business card, and I think this came in an order or something. This was the recap of my journaling class, and these are some of the journals that the people who came to my workshop made, and so I took pictures of each of them, and of course I had to print them out and put them in my journal because I was so proud of the journals that everyone made, and pictures of them, and then more pictures of my workshop. And I think I wrote a lot about that. It was a learning experience, this workshop, and I know if I do it again, I would do it differently, and hopefully it turns out better. But it was cute. It was a really, really nice time. It was a very quiet Tuesday, and Recess Grove was really empty on a Tuesday. It's a weekday, work day, and it was like summer, and it's really slow in the summer. So, but it was nice, cozy. It was really fun. I went on a second date, and I actually invited the guy to see this film at the Tribeca Film Festival. So I'm pretty sure a lot of you who follow me, especially on Instagram, probably follow Andrea Gibson or know of Andrea Gibson. And when they mentioned that they were filming a documentary and it premiered at the Sundance Film Festival and all these things, I was like, oh my God, I need to see that film. Like, I love documentaries, but I loved Andrea Gibson, and I really wanted to see this film. And I'm just like, well, if it was at the Sundance Film Festival, and then it was at like a different film festival in Colorado, and like it was just working through the film festivals, and I'm just like, if it comes to New York, I'm gonna get tickets for it because I need to see it. I just needed to see it. Like, it was just one of those things that you're a fan of someone and you just kind of want to see the thing, right? And Andrea Gibson, their words inspire me so much, especially through COVID, especially through that hard time. It's like the art that they created through their sickness and through their pain and their grief, like, just help heal so many other people, and it's so beautiful. And I'm pretty sure it helped heal them too, in a way. And I just needed to see this documentary. Anyway, they made a post, I remember, because I saw it in the morning. I check my email and I check my Instagram like first thing in the morning. I'm in bed and I just wake up and that's the first thing I do. It's such a bad habit, I know, but that's what I do. And I saw that they posted that the film, which is called Come See Me in the Good Light, was going to be at the Tribeca Film Festival. And then they posted the link to where you can buy tickets to go see it at the Tribeca Film Festival. And I lived in New York City my entire life and I've never seen anything at the Tribeca Film Festival. It never even occurred to me that I, as an everyday person, could just get a ticket to go see a film at any one of the film festivals that happen in New York City. But apparently it's the easiest thing in the world. You can actually pay and get tickets to go see any of these films that premiere at the Tribeca Film Festival. Mind blown. I'm gonna do this more often because there's some really good films that premiere at these festivals that become really big films, right? And so I hopped on. I was like, which date? Any date? Come on, like, and I ended up getting tickets for June 8th, which I believe was a Sunday night. And at the time that I bought them, I bought two because I was just like, I'll figure out somebody to take. Like, I can ask one of my friends or I can ask my mom. Like, I'll find somebody to go with me to go see this film. Because this was for June 8th, and I think I bought the ticket like in March, April, probably. I know it was a while. Anyway, I had gone on that Met date with this guy, and so I just kind of threw it out there if he wanted to go see this film, this documentary at the Tribeca Film Festival. So we went to go see Come See Me in a Good Light, and I had to preface this. I'm just like, just so you know, it's a documentary about cancer, but it's like one of my favorite poets, and it is just their journey through their cancer diagnosis with their wife, and it's about poetry, and I don't know if it's gonna be sad or not, but like, just preface this because, you know, not everybody can like deal with that, right? Like, it's gonna be sad, like it's gonna be sad, just be prepared. Probably not a good second date film, but oh my god, this was such a beautiful, beautiful film. And yes, it was sad, but god damn it, was it so funny. And like the fact that it starts off the way it starts off and you're just like in tears because you're laughing so hard. Bless Andrea and Megan. And it was so good. I'm getting so emotional just thinking about it. Like, I mean, again, if you know Andrea Gibson, you know that they passed away in, I think it was like maybe a couple of weeks after this film festival. Well, not really, no, because they passed in July, but like a month later, pretty much, when I saw this film. And that was a sad day. I think in my journal I remember writing that like I really don't get emotional about celebrities or like people that I don't know but like I follow. I don't really get emotional with like, I guess, celebrity deaths. Not that I'm saying that Andrea Gibson is a celebrity, but they were an artist that, you know, I didn't really have a relationship with, right? It's this weird parasocial social media kind of relationship of just following their art and their life and the diagnosis and their Substack and like all the things, right? I don't really get emotional with those types of people passing because of course I don't have like an emotional attachment to them. I hope that makes sense, right? I'm not very emotional about celebrities or artists or, you know, well-known people. That's probably the better phrase when they pass away. But at the time, there was only one instance where I got really emotional about somebody that I don't know but who is known, who passed away, and that was for Claire Wineland, who was this extraordinary YouTuber. She wasn't just a YouTuber, she was an activist, she was a public speaker, she was a motivational speaker, she was a cystic fibrosis advocate. She had cystic fibrosis and she she passed away really young. And if you all know the movie 5 Feet Apart, it's that Justin Baldoni movie. That movie was inspired by Claire Wineland. And she actually helped, like she was the, oh my God, what is it called? The word is losing me. Like, Justin Baldoni would kind of check in with Claire to make sure like everything was accurate in how he was portraying these teens with cystic fibrosis and stuff like that. There's a word for it and I can't remember. That was the only time in my life that I was like physically, like emotionally, really, really sad for someone who I didn't know who passed away. The same thing happened with Andrea Gibson when I read the post and found out that they had passed away. I just felt an overwhelming grief. And it's weird. It's weird, especially when you just don't know. For me, it's weird. I don't know. Maybe for other people, it's not weird. But like for me, it's very weird because like I don't know this person. But their art, their words, what they said touched me so much that I just felt that grief. Yeah, I really felt that grief. I know I'm talking forever about this, but so this film, it is still being played at film festivals. So if it's coming to your town, the way to find out is to follow Andrea on their social media. I believe their wife, Meg, is still keeping it updated. Follow Meg, follow the Substack, all the things. I will leave a link to Andrea's website in the description box below. I know it's still being played. I don't know for how long, but if you can't see it at a festival near you, I believe it was Apple TV that picked it up, and it's going to be streaming on Apple TV in November. I think mid-November. I want to say like the 14th, but I could be wrong. But yeah, it'll be on Apple TV, and I highly, highly recommend this, especially if you loved Andrea's work, loved their poetry, loved their spoken word. If you're into documentaries, if you want to laugh your pants off and then cry and then laugh and just feel joy and just feel an overwhelming like astonishment, like awe of someone's life and the beautiful way in which they navigated it and saw it and shared their experience in such a beautiful and touching way to other people that actually affected other people. It's such a beautiful film. It's so beautiful. Like it's amazing. And I'm going to stop talking about it right now, but I went to go see this and yeah, I really loved it. I loved it. So that's that. And I think I journaled a lot about it too. Like, yeah, it was all of this. Granted, it was a date, but I think I mostly talked about the movie because, yeah. Anyway, that is that. This is a picture of me and my coworkers. This was at a Grammy party for a songwriting camp that apparently happens every summer in New York City. I work for a music tech company, so like all these things. This was my first ever Grammy party, to be quite honest. I felt very out of place. In like a place like this, I met a couple of songwriters. These are just like the songwriters that participated in the camp, and some producers, because my company works with these are the guys from the marketing team. It's their job to do all the schmoozing and the mingling and things like that. I'm not on the marketing team, but I'm part marketing team, and they're just like, are you free this night? We're gonna be in New York, we're gonna be at this party, you wanna come? I was like, yeah, sure, I'm gonna go to a Grammy party. Like, it's free? What? I'm gonna be there. So that was that. That's me journaling about that. Oh, I tipped this in. I ended up buying an Instax square printer because the printers are better than the cameras. And so this is the packaging. I think I just tipped it in and just did my journaling right on top. I went to Recess Grove, and this was one of their new stickers of the sloth. So cute that I had to go in my journal, and then I made like a little tree scene around it. Love that. And I think I have, yeah, I have all like all the little drawings that we got up to at Recess Grove in here. So I guess this was a pocket. I went to yesterday's news. I bought these pants from Macy's. This is what I did at Recess Grove. And then I clearly got my Cocoa Daisy kit in amongst all of this. Journaling. And then this was my brother's birthday. I don't know why I wrote about it here, but I was at my mom's house, clearly. I guess I must have gotten a candle. These were some stickers that my mom gave me. My mom actually went with my brother to Washington, D.C. My brother, he was going to a keyboard convention or a keycap convention in D.C. Keyboards. It's all keyboards. And my mom went with him. My mom is not into that hobby. She doesn't know anything about keyboards or keycaps or anything like that. But she went with him. And my mom's the type of mom who, like, she'll get into the things that you're into and she will schmooze. My mom is a people person, so she'll go up to anybody and like just start talking to them and all these things. She's just that type of person. Anyway, she brought me back some stickers. And actually, she just like collected like everybody's sticker, and she's like, "Do you want any of these stickers?" Blah, blah, blah. I thought this one was really cute, the MetroCard one that says keyboards. I thought that was adorable, and then I really like this one, Saber Keebs. I guess those are people who do keycaps, but it's Star Wars themed, and I thought those were really cute, so I had to put them into my journal. But that was that. Okay, so this was a date that I went on. And this is another one of those, envelopes that I did the same decoupage, pink splatters. I actually drew these butterflies at Recess Grove and then cut them out and then put them on here. But they get flat because they're in this journal, but they're supposed to puff up like that. But my date took me to Longwood Gardens, which is this like, kind of like a botanical garden on this old estate in Pennsylvania. And so these are some pictures that I took with my camera that I printed out and put in here. And so, yeah, this is just me talking about the date and the gardens, beautiful gardens. You know me, I love flowers and I love being in gardens. This is a Planner Society girl stamp that I put here. We went to this place for brunch before we went to the gardens. A bunny, because I saw wild bunnies there. Oh my god, it made me so happy. Picture of me, another stamp. Yeah, all of this, literally all of this is Longwood. Look how pretty, so pretty. And I used my big girl camera, and I put like a toy lens on it, so it had like this really not like vignette around it. And yeah, it was just really, really pretty. I was experimenting with the lens. I'm not a photographer, but I like to experiment. This is the map. I'm not going to pull it out because it's huge, but I clipped it in here with a butterfly paper clip. This was my date. And yeah, that was all Longwood Gardens. All of that was Longwood. I went to Recess Grove again. These were some paint swatches. This is when I made these butterflies. And I did most of this documenting at Recess Grove. Another one of their stickers. I love the new designs that they come out with their stickers. And this was the bouquet of flowers that my date gave me before when he went to pick me up to go to this garden. And so I took a picture of that and had to put it in here. And yeah, I think that's all of this writing. This, I started James Luke Burke's Last Virtual Voyage. I actually printed out the logo for Virtual Voyage 10, and I printed it out on glossy sticker paper and then cut it out and put it in my journal. But the rest of this journal, I think the drawings that you'll see are the drawings that I did for the Virtual Voyage class, and I didn't want to create a different journal for it, so I kind of just did all my drawings and stuff on loose pieces of paper, and I figured that I would just put them in any journal. So the ones that weren't like Halloween themed, ended up in this journal. The ones that are Halloween themed, I'm going to put them in my Burtonville journal, which I'm planning to use and work on in the month of October. So hopefully you'll see an update on that journal, but I have the more Halloween-y themed art that I created for Virtual Voyage for that journal because it just fits there better. But this was one of the first lessons of the Virtual Voyage 10, and I did it again on loose leaf paper, and then I fussy cutted her out, put some paint on the background, and then just put her there. She's really cute. She actually looks like one of my mom's neighbor's daughters. Like, I see her in this girl, and that was not my intention, but yeah, really cute. This was another one. This was the mermaid. I absolutely love my mermaid. I don't know if you can see. Do you see that? I use this the gold Kuretake the Gamzai watercolors. You know what I'm talking about. Those Kuretake Gamzai. I think it's Gamzai. Oh my god, I keep saying it. I don't know if it's true, but you know those big pan watercolors. I bought one that was gold when I was in Tokyo, and I used it on her cheeks and like on the star, and so she has this little shimmer on her face. I absolutely love that. I love it. Anyway, I fussy cutted her out, and this is like a pattern paper from one of those paper lovers books behind her, and I just put her here and I tipped her in on this page. I guess I ended up going to my mom's this day. I did go to Five Below, and I got a bunch of these strawberry shortcake little figurines, and so I put the little cards here. I got 2 of them. I got mint tulip and angel cake, and I tipped this in, and I guess I was talking about hanging out with my mom. I like hanging out with my mom. I love my mom. I'm like I was always one of those weird kids, one of those weird teenagers who like actually really liked hanging out with their mom like all the time. I love my mom. Like, I always have a great time hanging out with her. As an adult who no longer lives with her, like, I'm that kid that goes home. Like, sometimes I'll let her know, I'm like, hey mom, I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna like stay a couple of days. I do my laundry for free, you know, like all the things, and I just chill out and hang. I do my laundry. Like, that's why I go to my mom's. But sometimes I just go and I'm just like, yeah, I have laundry to do, but I don't actually tell her that I'm going to show up. I just go and we're just like, I'm going to be in my own room and hang out. Like, was it this past week as I'm filming it? I spent like pretty much the whole week there. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to go to my mom's house and just chill and hang out with my mom. I mean, she works. She has to go to work every day and stuff like that. But in the evenings, we get to hang out. But like sometimes on the weekends, I'll go. And mostly because I have to do food shopping, and like where I shop at Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, and the closest Whole Foods and Trader Joe's is in my mom's neighborhood. I don't have one in my neighborhood. So I go to my mom's neighborhood, I do my food shop, and then I go to my mom's house to hang out with my mom. I love my mom. Like, I am very grateful that I can say that I love my mom, that we have a very good relationship with each other, because I know a lot of people who don't have a close relationship with their parents either, or like my dad and we didn't have the best relationship. I feel like me being older, if he was still alive, we'll probably have a better one, but we didn't. And I get it. I get when I have friends who don't have very close relationships with their parents. I totally understand what that feels like. But I also have a parent who I do have that relationship with, and it's very rare, and I'm incredibly blessed that I can say that, like, yeah, I'm gonna go hang out with my mom. You know, I love my mom. I'm gonna hang out with her. But yeah, I guess I hung out with my mom that weekend there. What is this? Oh, I went to Kinokuniya and I got me some stickers. These are the labels from that sticker sheet. I took a break from work and I did that. This is a collage from a Virtual Voyage. This was one of the lessons that James had us do. It is a very James Luke Burke coded and I had a lot of fun with this. I really did. There's just different magazine pieces and I created these girls. It's very cute. It was very fun. I made this journal for the guy that I was dating or am dating. And that's kind of why I went to Kinokuniya, because I needed passport sized inserts. So I bought a bunch of Travelers Company ones. I was actually looking for I went to a Muji, because there's a Muji next to the Kinokuniya in Midtown, and I was looking for the passport memos. You know, those little passport books you can get at Muji? Muji doesn't sell them anymore, and it makes me really sad because I used to get those and use them like in my passport holder. But anyway, took a picture of the journal that I made. This is one of James's gifts. Like he gave us these tags, and I just fussy cut his art out and put it into my journal here. And then this is the little gift. Once I've wrapped it up, I took a picture of it and I've printed it out and fussy cut it here. I think I was talking about that. This was another one of James's tags. That's his art, and that I put in here. I think I'm talking about Virtual Voyage here, because a lot of this time was all Virtual Voyage. This was another assignment that I did. This is on watercolor paper, so I did tip this in, and you can see like this giant lump because this is so chunky. But this was another one of the art pieces. This was on watercolor paper, and I did use that shimmer watercolor, and you can see it. I love it. So fun. It's a girl with like ivy in her hair. And then this was the last tag. This James's art. I can never be this good. Like, he's amazing. But I fussy cut that and put that in here because I was talking about finishing up Virtual Voyage and stuff on here. And then this is just a photograph of 2 other pieces of art that I made during the Virtual Voyage. And these are more, I did other ones too that are more Halloween-y-esque, because there was like a whole port of inspiration that was that. So all the ports of inspiration were the years. And I guess there was one year where he did like Burtonville and Halloween and stuff like that, and the Daisy style workshop and all the things like that. So we did art from each of those eras almost. It was kind of like an Eras tour. It was definitely James's Eras tour. But I didn't want to include these drawings into this journal because they felt more akin to my Burtonville journal, like Halloween, my October daily journal, that I'm like, I want to use them in that journal. So I took a picture of them so I can include them in here. And then the last of the journaling. And friends, that is this journal. This was a long video, and sorry, I'm not sorry that this was a long video, but it was a chunky journal, and you know me, I like to talk and I go on tangents, and I really hope you enjoyed a look at this journal and what I got up to in the spring and all the things that I documented in this really, really chunky journal. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this flip of this journal. Anything that I talked about, I will do my best to collect all those links that I said that I was going to put in the description box and actually put them in the description box down below. And yeah, just thank you so much for watching and spending your time with me always, because I know my videos tend to be really, really long, and I really, really appreciate you. Until next time, friends, I have another journal flip through that I need to share, so I'll see you then. Bye.